What up, fam? Had some technical difficulties earlier, but here I am, and we are here. Me, your host, the one and only. My co host, the one and only. We're here tonight to talk about whatever needs to be talked about. Corona, COVID 19 is ravaging the world. Sports is done. No spring ball. No basketball. Just no baseball. We got nothing. It's been hard to get content for you guys, so here I am. Figure we'll just do an open forum talk. There has been some news that we can definitely go over, and we can even talk. Do we even think there's gonna be a football season to cover this year? That's another thing. But Kendrick, appreciate you for tuning in, my man. How are you doing? You are on Friday Night Chop Chat. I understand there may be some other streams going on at the time, but at this point, why wait? I'm here, giving you that alternative as we just kick it, relax, and talk about whatever needs to be talked about. You are live with your boys, with your boy. To really kind of kick things off, I gotta say, I hope everybody's being safe, practicing your social distance, whatever that, if that pertains to you, if whatever. But I do hope you're being safe, being sanitary. I hope everybody's family's well. This quarantine BS is some bull, man. It's completely ruined my entire birthday plans for this month. Any future content that was going on for this month regarding the spring game and just spring practice in general and who I thought was actually going to emerge as the quarterback, all that stuff has been completely done away with. So now all we have is speculation on what we think may or may not end up happening come fall. But like I said, hope everybody's doing their best to stay healthy, and so you can keep tuning in to me. We can keep this thing rolling. I know I've been gone. It seems to be a trend with me. I release some stuff, then I get ghosts, but the Corona thing really derailed a lot of content that I kind of had and ideas that I kind of had. But, it is what it is. Me and Hennessy are here tonight for your viewing pleasure. If you are in here, man, smash the like button. Share it with your buddies. Let them know I'm on. If they want to join, and we can all kick it. Here we are. So hopefully the summer will be lit. Man, I hope so. From everything I'm hearing, this thing can drag on into the fall. Really frustrating, to be honest with you, to be stuck in the house all the time. If you have a job, I hope, you're still able to keep that job. If you're in school, I know a lot of guys aren't going back to school. Hopefully, you can still get those credits and graduate. All that stuff. Like the whole world's been derailed by this thing. So everybody stay up, stay positive, and join the live stream, and we can have positive vibes all night. But yep, here we are. So, quick rundown of some news and some notes. Vassell, Williams, they are leaving Florida State for the NBA after not even getting a chance to play in March Madness and what was probably FSU's best team in its history and a chance to really make a run at a national title. FSU will be losing two of its better players. Unfortunately, they will be going to the NBA, so there's some news and notes for you. Jay-Sean Corbin will be eligible. First thing fall, if there is a football season this fall, Jay-Sean will be in the backfield. That makes a very, very good and deep running back room. You combine Jay-Sean Corbin with Kalen LeBourne. Now, Jay Sean still has to recover from a hamstring injury. Um, but assuming all that goes to plan, Claiborne, Corbin, Webb, you got some good stuff to look forward to, man. Got some good stuff to look forward to in that backfield. That backfield's taking shape. Kendrick says this is all because we can't wash our hands. That's the thing, you know. That's unfortunately that is the thing. Like this is all put into perspective, but you don't really think about it until like a time like now. Like you know how many times I've like go to restaurants and stuff and watch people use the bathroom and walk right out the bathroom. I always wash my hands when I go to when I'm in a public restroom or anything like that. You know how many times I see people do that, and then at the time you're like, oh, that's nasty. Now you're like, well, damn, you're spreading the coronavirus. You know what I mean? So wash your hands, man. Wash and sanitize your hands. Cover your mouth when you sneeze. You know, all the stuff that you should have been taught as a child. Let's practice that stuff, guys. For State Love, what's up, Polk County? No, hope you and the fam are cool. Yeah, bro. Everybody's good on our end. I hope you and your family is doing well as well. Let's do it. We're here tonight to kick it and talk about whatever. Corey Wren will be a beast. Corey Wren's going to be in that backfield as well. But really, with the addition of Corbin, you can take your time with those freshmen now. Toafili and Corey Wren. They don't necessarily need to be thrust into the. They don't really need to be thrust into the mix. You can take some patience. I mean, you know, you still have Anthony Grant there as well. Unfortunately, I think he's a guy who's probably going to be at the end of that depth chart. I just don't really see much from him, but hopefully he can prove me wrong. But at the top, Claiborne, Corbin, JUCO, Webb, and then Grant. That's 4 upperclassmen off the bat. Toafili and Wren, you can let them sit back. You know, Ja'Kai Douglas is another one. Again, remember, Ja'Kai's moving to running back. He can take a back seat. You don't have to rush any of those 3 young running backs. So, yeah, man. That's good news for Florida State. Let's just hope we get more good news and we actually have a season this year. As far as, let me think, I can't think of any other news and notes that's really been circulating as of late. There's some recruiting news that's really not important. I also want to touch on your boy Jameis, man. Where does Jameis Winston go from here? Tampa Bay has cut ties with Winston and went and got Tom Brady, unbelievably. As far as the move goes, it doesn't. Listen, if Tampa Bay can't fix their O-line, well, then they're not going to do anything but get a 43-year-old Brady hurt. So with that said, where does Jameis go from here? Who knows? You know, I'm one of the few people who think that Jameis's career might be over. Not because I don't like Jameis. Jameis is one of my favorite players. My bad. Not because I don't like Jameis. Jameis is one of my favorite players that's ever came through the university. But when you throw 30 picks, I don't know if anybody's really going to give you a shot. And you're seen as a bit of a troublemaker. Jameis hasn't had the best. Like what? Just last year he was suspended the first few games because of some contact with the Uber driver. Like stuff like that is. I don't know if Jameis is gonna have a future in the NFL after Tampa Bay has cut ties with them. That's the unfortunate thing. I'm hoping for the best for the man. Wherever he does go, I will be a fan. But I'm just being a realist, and I don't know where he's going from here. Kendrick says our receiving core is deep. I like our offense in general. We just got to shore up the two most important positions on the offense, if we're being honest. Offensive line and quarterback. Right now, I'm not sure we have either. Now, good segue into that, Kendrick. If we talk about our offensive line, I'll be honest with you. I was very impressed with Coach Atkins in the way he coaches the guys. But I'm not impressed with what I saw at all from the actual talent. Like, Those guys need a lot of work, man. They need a lot of work. Now, granted, um, Donta Lucas not there at spring practice. Darius Washington not at spring practice. Probably your two better offensive linemen on the team not participating in at the time they weren't participating. Um, they weren't participating in spring drills and all that. So that is something to keep in mind. Um, but yeah, wasn't impressed from actually seeing the actual players go through the drills. Was impressed with the coaching, so we'll see how the coaching translates to on the field. Good luck with that. And as far as quarterback goes, I think from everything I was hearing, Jordan Travis was emerging as maybe the better quarterback out of all the guys we had. More consistent, has plenty of arm from what I've heard. From what I've heard and the few bit of tape I watched, the kid can throw the ball. Now his arm isn't as big as James Blackman's arm, but he can make the throws necessary to be an effective college quarterback. I saw a guy like A.J. McCarron who didn't have a huge arm at Alabama be able to throw the ball to Julio Jones and others. So from what I'm hearing, Jordan Travis was kind of emerging as the guy. I'd be pleased to watch him. I wouldn't be mad at all if they went with Jordan Travis. That and then spring stopped and we don't know what was a who was gonna emerge or could keep up consistency. So everything is speculation at this point. Love, I think he should stay in Tampa Bay, back up Tom Brady. He would be a starter by the seventh game. So I wouldn't be against Jameis staying in Tampa Bay. Learning a year under Brady would actually do him some good. I can agree with that. I think the question you have to ask is, does Jameis Winston see himself, basically, I don't know. If you're Jameis Winston, you go from being the starter on that team, they bring in Tom Brady. Do you think you're gonna have a legit chance in camp to actually kind of outplay him? I think maybe Jameis needs a fresh start. If I'm being honest with you, because I think the Tampa Bay, the problem with Tampa Bay, the organization, they suck as an organization, and the draft. If I look at the names that they have passed up in recent years, that it could have really helped Jameis Winston and the team. Now, what they did do well was draft Chris Godwin, Mark Bett, who's a guard, and Cameron Brate, the other tight end. Looking back on it, you picked Vernon Hargreaves when Tunzel was sitting right there. That guy could have been your franchise left tackle in Tunzel. You could have moved Donovan Smith to either the other tackle spot or a guard spot because he sucks at tackle. Dude might be a decent guard. But you picked Vernon Hargreaves, who's no longer on the team. You picked O.J. Howard, who you already had a tight end. Dude is about as inconsistent from fumbles to drops. That was a waste of a pick. You passed on Derwin James. You passed on a Dalvin Cook. All those guys could have been Buccaneers. They just are terrible at draft. Like, Derwin James is on the board and you pick Vita Vea. Now, I don't care how good people think Vita Vea may turn out to be. He's been a solid starter. Derwin James, before that injury, was the best rookie in the NFL. You passed on Dalvin Cook after you had like two teams. You didn't get him in the first round. He came back around in the second round and you passed him up. And Dalvin Cook is looking like, I don't know, one of the top 3 running backs in football now when he's healthy. So, I think Jameis is probably better off just getting a fresh start somewhere. And going to a winning organization. Tampa Bay is not that. So, if I was Jameis, I probably wouldn't stick behind Tom Brady. I want Jordan Travis to start. Yep, I do too. Well, I don't know if I want him to start, but I definitely want to see him get a chance to prove himself. I was really looking forward to watching him in a spring game with Norvell calling plays and how that offense would have looked and how they would have utilized him. But from everything I was hearing and watching, he was the favorite early on in spring camp. He was the favorite. Blackman can go. You know, I'm not a Blackman hater. I don't want to see him play quarterback anymore. But I think when you got a guy like Blackman who could have transferred, he stuck it out. He's a Seminole at heart. You know, I think Blackman's a kid that you probably want to keep around the program. Good ambassador type kid. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying, Kendrick. Yeah, Tampa Bay don't have a defense because you passed on guys like Derwin James and you're picking Vernon Hargreaves. Like, you picked a Gator. Let me name one Florida Gator defensive back that's been any good, and I can probably only name two out of the history of UF that's been any good in the NFL, and that's Joe Hayden, and Lito Shepherd. You went with Vernon Hargreaves when you had a chance for Derwin James and Dalvin Cook. Like, come on. The Bucks have been a joke for a while. So I think Jameis should just go ahead and get himself a fresh start. Get himself a fresh start. You know, if there's even a football season to talk about. But definitely just do your, I wouldn't mind seeing, if you're going to be in a backup role, I wouldn't mind seeing Jameis go to, like, Pittsburgh and back up Ben. Ben's not guaranteed to play a whole season these days anymore either. I think that's more of a winning culture and organization over there in Pittsburgh. And Jameis can probably step in and do the exact same things Ben Roethlisberger can do. So, and Pittsburgh needs a quarterback, or they need to at least find the heir apparent to Ben. You don't have a pick. They traded their first round pick. Maybe sign Jameis Winston to like a Teddy Bridgewater deal that Teddy Bridgewater just signed with Carolina. One of those deals where you get a year to prove it, or like a 3-year deal where 1 year you back up Ben. The next year you get a chance to prove if you're worth it, and if not, they can just cut ties with you. I mean, it worked for a guy like Ryan Tannehill. He just got paid big money, and Tennessee just went to the AFC championship game, so it's not unprecedented. Like, it can work for sure. Yeah, being a fan of the Bucks will make you depressed. So, but see, I wasn't never really a fan of the Bucks. I started rooting for the Bucks when they drafted Jameis. So I'm sticking with that. Wherever Jameis goes, that's where I go. And it just, they just haven't done giving Jameis any help. You throw for 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions now. That has a lot to do. I mean, Jameis' first part of his career, he had a guy like Dirk Cutter calling plays. Just a bad offensive coordinator. Or he was a head coach at that time. Terrible. Like, he wasted his first 3-4 years with that guy as the head coach. Dirk Cutter, of all people. You get there, you got there Lovie Smith. They give Lovie Smith a year and you fire him. Dirk Cutter gets 3 years. They do get no progress done. He's a terrible offensive play caller. He proved that when he went to Atlanta, and they got even worse. So, again, they haven't done the man any favors. And I think going to the Saints is another good option. I do believe that. You can go to the Saints and learn behind Drew Brees. You're in the same division as the Bucks. Maybe you end up having the Bucks, get him some payback later on. I'm not against him going to Pittsburgh or New Orleans or a team like that. I just don't think sitting behind Brady does him any good in Tampa Bay, because you're still on the team that has already told you we don't have any faith on you to lead us. So we brought in a 43-year-old quarterback who's probably washed at this point. I know Tampa's all excited about Tom Brady, but let's be honest. He's probably washed at this point. Can Tom Brady really get the ball deep to Chris Godwin and Mike Evans? I mean, we'll see. But he's probably washed at this point. So you're telling me this 43-year-old is a better option than me, but you want me to stick out? I think Jameis is better off going somewhere else. New Orleans isn't a bad idea. Pittsburgh's not a bad idea. San Diego wouldn't be necessarily a bad idea, but if San Diego brought him in, you're going there to be the starter from day one because they don't have a quarterback at all. They got Tyrod Taylor, which makes me think San Diego's probably going to draft like Justin Herbert or somebody and start him day one. But yeah, there's a lot of options. There are options for Jameis. I just get out of Tampa, get a fresh start. Sometimes that fresh start, that's always sometimes that's good for a guy. You saw it with Drew Brees. Remember, Drew Brees was a Charger, and he was never terrible as a Charger, but he just, it was what it was. He was ho hum, I guess you would call it. Good quarterback. Gets a fresh start with the Saints, and the rest is history. Wins a Super Bowl, he's considered one of the top quarterbacks of all time, right up there with Tom Brady's and Peyton Manning's. So sometimes you just need that. Same thing with Ryan Tannehill. He pretty much had all but lost the job down there in Miami. Gets traded to Tennessee, beats out Marcus Mariota. Next thing you know, this dude is getting paid $100 and some million, going to the AFC Conference Championship. His career has been resurrected. Fresh start. Jameis needs a fresh start. Y'all should have gotten the O-line. I agree. We should have patched up the O-line and that defense, man. Specifically that secondary. That secondary is terrible. The Buccaneer secondary is bad. And the O-line is no better. But what they'll do is you know what the Bucs do when they want to patch up the O-line? They pick 6 and 7 round picks and then throw them in there as starters on the O-line, and you wonder why the O-line's no good. So that's where the Bucs are right now. Hopefully, though, it works out for him, But, again, I'm not necessarily a Bucs fan. I'm a Jameis fan. So wherever Jameis goes, that's where I go. I just don't know if he's going to find a job. I have a feeling that teams aren't going to give him a shot. Just a unfortunate feeling. Why do I feel like I hear my kid is crying? I don't know. But yep, so hope everybody's doing good, man. Y'all are turned in live on Friday Night Chop Chat. We are here. And I think this dude is having a fit. Hold on. Come on, boy. Ugh. Got the young Noel back here with me. I'm back, guys. Hey. We're live. You can't be talking. What's going on? What do you guys want to chat about, though? We just did a good little spill on Jameis and his potential future or lack thereof. Don't know. Here, man, you want my phone? I'm not sure. We're not sure where Jameis goes. But we talk about future Florida State quarterbacks. Jordan Travis. He may be QB1 going into the season. I know I was very heavy on the Purdy bandwagon to begin with, but I don't know. I don't think that's not going to happen now. With no spring ball, Purdy was never an early enrollee, so he's never going to be in the spring anyway. But now with all these football functions shut down and, I don't know. I think, Purdy's going to have to wait a year. And FSU's just going to, this potential season that's in jeopardy could really be interesting. And it sucks if, the season can't be played because you had Tamarion Terry and Marvin Wilson come back to do some special things and all for nothing. Like, you know, it sucks. I'm hoping, I'm hoping that they have the season. Can you not do that, please? No. But I'm hoping that the season is salvaged. I'm hoping, it's not ideal, but I rather watch football. If they have to play in an empty stadium, so be it. I mean, I'd rather be able, and maybe I'm just being my own selfish reasons, but I mean, I'd rather watch it on TV. I mean, I don't think it'd be that bad. It might be awkward for the guys in the stadium, but you can't tell me that those, look, those guys have played a lot of games in front of small crowds before. You know, I don't think it's that big of an issue if you'd have the first few games maybe without fans. I mean, damn, does it really get to that point to where we have no fans all the way up to August? I mean, I think that's crazy. I don't know. I don't think it'd get to that point. I think the football season, it'd be fine. It's just a matter of time. Purdy, yeah, I know Purdy will be there next year. I just don't know if he'll be the starter. I know he'll be there. I know he'll get an opportunity come fall, but if Jordan Travis is the favorite as of now, you know what I mean, and Purdy's gonna not get there to the fall. I don't know. I don't think Purdy can make up that distance in just the fall camp, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, you know, FSU basketball would win the championship. I was hoping to get a chance to at least watch him, Kendrick, but we didn't even get that chance. This stuff all pretty much started when the ACC tournament was about to start and all that good stuff, and we never get a chance to see any of it. And they've already canceled that, and they already canceled the rest of the NBA season. Like, we might not even get a playoffs. And I'm hearing there's a chance that this thing could go into the fall, December, like into the winter. Like, I'm hearing there's a chance that this isn't some quick fix, that this might be a year-long thing. If that's the case, there may not be a college football season. I think if you think this virus will last until May or April, well, it's already April. I mean, it's March 27th. April's in a few days. Like, it's already April. So that's not going to happen. We're going to be shut down all April as well. What you have to hope is that May and June, they get a handle on this thing, the numbers start decreasing instead of increasing. Because the problem right now is, I don't watch the news because the news is just full of a bunch of negatives and it'll have you depressed, right? But the statistics are saying, like, every day this thing's increasing tenfold in certain areas. Well, you got to start getting those numbers to decrease, and then they start opening things back. Like right now, restaurants are closed. Like, we can't even go out to eat. We literally just be stuck in the house all day, bro. Hey, but if you're in here, man, hit that like button for me, man. I appreciate you few that have joined me. I always appreciate the few that stick with me. I know I haven't done a live stream in a minute. Hell, I haven't done too much in a minute just because I've been so busy with this and that, and then all the things that this channel is based on completely shut down. So I don't have any Florida State to talk about. I don't have any boxing to talk about. Like, I've debated doing other things, like maybe some, I don't know, games or something. But even that, that's not what my fan base or my core followings. I don't like to call y'all fans. Y'all are followers. Y'all support me. Yeah. My core supporters, they don't come here for the gaming. They come here for Florida State. That's what we're here for. So that's what I try to give you guys. It's just been hard as of recently, and we can talk about old topics and all, but that don't really try to move the needle. But we're just gonna get it in, get it how we live. We're gonna figure this thing out, and my son is gonna join us. I have a co-host. I have the co-host. We're all here together on a Friday night while we're in quarantine with nothing better to do, and we're talking some Florida State. Bro, give me my phone. If you don't have kids, don't have kids. If you have kids, just love them and cherish them. What do you guys think? You guys think they're going to cancel college football? Just football or sports in the fall in general? I mean, there's no baseball season as of right now. There's nothing, no hockey. Like, once basketball season ends, sports is usually pretty dead anyway. I'm not a big. I can't watch. Baseball's fun to follow and play. I can't watch it. I can't sit through, 9 innings of. I can't. So, the spring and the summer is usually slow on sports anyway. But man, we've got a head start on that, and it's been tough. It's been tough, man. It's been tough. 93 or 99 team. Who you got? I got to say the first wire-to-wire number 1 was Sweet. So the 93 team or the 99 team? I like that question. So let's go. You got Charlie Ward or Chris Winkie? Who you got? I got Charlie Ward. Boy, stop. Can you stop? Can I talk to the people? Please. Thank you. Charlie Ward versus Chris Winkie. I got Charlie Ward. The 99 team they did have my favorite player though, that guy behind me. That guy over my left shoulder. That's my right shoulder. Damn, I don't know my left from my right. But that guy over my right shoulder, yeah, they did have him on that 99 team. So that's very tough. That 99 team was undefeated, wire to wire. Oh, man. This boy will not stop. Let me grab the mic. Bye-bye. You put me on the spot, man, and I really can't think about it. Oh, my God. Be quiet. I think I'm gonna go the 90. I think I'm gonna go the 93 team. That's a tough one though. But the 93 team, where they had a freshman Ward Dunn, if I'm not mistaken. They had Derrick Brooks. I think I'm going to go that 93 team. What about you guys? What do you think? You think 93? Hey! What's wrong with you? Oh, no. Are you sleepy? Just want the phone? Here. Yep, I think the 93 team might have a slight edge, though. And I think the 2013/14 team probably beats both of them, to be honest with you. Because that team was absolutely loaded. Even though I think Charlie Ward's the best quarterback in FSU history, that team, just player for player, was more loaded probably than any team in Florida State history. Well, not probably, was. So, I think you would go number 1, 2014, number 2, 99, or 2013, 99, and then, 93, then 99. I think that's the order I would go. Yeah. And that's why it was so tough for me. That 99 team had P-Dub, so that's what makes that 99 team so tough. That dude was a problem. That dude was different. That dude was Reggie Bush before Reggie Bush was Reggie Bush. Like, people be talking about Reggie Bush was this, was that. I'm like, man, go watch Peter Ward highlights. He was everything Reggie Bush was and more. The best college football player I've ever seen was number 9, Peter Ward. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I think as a whole team, I think that 93 team was better. And yeah, that 2013 team was essentially, if you look at that team, like that team was literally an NFL team. Every player on it. Pro Bowlers. All pro players. Like that 13-14 team was ridiculous. Pro Bowl running backs and Devontae Freeman. I believe Jameis made one Pro Bowl. So you got Pro Bowl quarterback. Jalen Ramsey, all pro corner. But yep, I don't know how's the weather there in the States, man. It's not only are we on quarantine, but here in Hawaii, it does nothing but rain all the time. It's crazy. I guess it's fitting for quarantine that it be raining. Son. Here you go. Listen, guys, don't have kids. I'm just telling you, don't have them. When you try to make YouTube videos, they steal all the spotlight. Yes, you do. Yeah. You steal all the spotlight. The people don't want to see you. They want to see me. They want to see me. It ain't funny. They want to see me. It is 3:00 Hawaii time. Been on for 38 minutes. I tried to, so I pushed. Yeah, right now, Kendrick, I live in Hawaii for the time being. So that's why, sometimes when I come on live and do videos, the time's off. So I tried to do it a little earlier. I was going to come on like 2 hours ago, but I saw, other guys were streaming, and I didn't want to interfere with those streams. But eventually, I was like, you know what? I'll just hop in here, give it a shot. No big deal. Hold on, man. Hold on. Let me show you. And so here we are. It's probably, most of the people that usually would be in here is probably over there in that live stream, which is cool. It's still early. We just started, so who knows? We'll wait a little bit. Don't do that, boy. It's like you gotta break stuff. Here, hold on. Put the case on it. Huh. Damn. So just me and the kiddo today. 40 minutes in. What do you guys think of Vassell and Williams declaring for the draft? Vassell, I figured he would declare for the NBA draft. A lot of people has him penciled in as some type of lottery pick. Williams is the guy that I don't know. I think he should have stayed another year. I don't know if he's ready for the NBA, and I'm not sure what kind of pick he's going to be going forward. It sucks that we just didn't get to see those guys try to finish off a great season and try to win the big one, you know? Do you have to touch the mic? So I don't know what else we got. Like, shoot, really just all speculation on what do we do with this upcoming season, if we even gonna have one, you know? Yeah, I think Vassell, he's gonna be a lottery pick. From everything I've heard from the NBA scouts, pretty much everybody considers him some type of lottery pick. Can you not do that? Some type of 3-and-D type player at the NBA level, and it makes sense. Williams was a guy who I thought might have been the most talented guy on the team, and started really coming along later in the year. But I think he needed another year to really solidify his draft status and the type of player he could potentially be. Look, at the end of the day, NBA is a different beast. Not mad at the man for going out there and trying to get that money, but the fact is, I thought he could use another year. Really would have loved to see those guys try to win that cut down those nets, but no, it ain't happening. That's right. Nope, it's not happening. So we'll see what Mike Norvell can do if we have a football season. What can he do year one? I think he can do some good things year one. I think he needs to just we got to get players on that offensive line, period. We got to get players, and we got to get a quarterback. Defensively, I think you might be looking at one of the better defensive units in the entire nation coming in the fall, if we get a fall. But I think you're going to be seeing one of the better defensive units. Outside of that, though, Florida State and just sports in general, there's nothing to really get on. You can't recruit. They shut down all kind of recruiting visits. You can't recruit. You can't. At this point, the sports world has been put on hold. It's been put on hold and pause, and don't know when it's going to start back up. And especially for college sports, we just don't know. Most likely that's where he's going to end up being in the G League. I mean, Kevin Gelly he played a lot in the G League this year, if I'm not mistaken, and that was a guy who I think he was a sophomore and But I thought Kamangeli could have stayed another year too. But you're gonna see those guys in the G League, I think. Unfortunately, they're just not ready. But would you rather play college ball for free or get paid to play G League ball? And that's really the decision that boils down to these guys. So I don't necessarily blame them. Again, I don't blame them at all. What I do blame is myself for bringing this terrible little joker into this video. What? What? No. 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 No, 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 no. You stop.
No.
You know.
No.
You know. No, 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 no. Come on, dude. What's the matter? Dude, chill out, man. But we're still early here, so we're just gonna wait. We're gonna kick it for a little bit. I'm not in a rush to get a bunch of people in the chat as of right now, because I understand other things are going on. So I will be back. I'm gonna get rid of this baggage, and I'll be back, guys. Plus, I'm gonna go grab me a cup. I'm gonna get me a cup of sips. Ugh. Guess who's back? Back again. Shady's back, tell a friend. Guess who's back, guess who's back, guess who's back. Friday night chop chat with your boy. It's a slow night, so we got a slow stream. I guess it's just really tough to figure out what to talk about on a night or just at a time like this. The sports world is all but non-existent. Where do we go from here, guys? What are the I guess my question is, what is the people? What are you guys, some of your other interests? Is it all Florida State? Are you guys interested in other things? Boxing isn't even happening. That's really the only other topic I kind of cover on this channel was my boxing talk. But what else? What else do you guys prefer to like or listen to or watch? Does anybody get into gaming? There's a few games that I be playing. I can live stream them. Call of Duty just came out with the Warzone. I'd be on that. I think I've won like 3 or 4 games on Warzone. So I be getting it in, dog. I be getting it in. So, what is the interest of the people? What can we do to keep the channel growing and keep it fresh? Because right now, with the way things going, everything's at a standstill, including the channel. And I'm at a loss for ideas. I've tried different things before, but again, I'm a believer that if it's not broke, don't fix it. And once you find your niche, you carry on with that. I know what kind of works and doesn't work for me. And the gaming thing I've tried before doesn't really seem to work. Not many people are interested in it. So I stick with the football talk. And that's where I get most of my love. So I guess, where do we go from here really is the question. Who do we talk to? What do we talk about? I don't, we can talk about old Florida State topics. There's a lot of stuff to talk about necessarily, like Florida State Love brought up the great question: 99 team versus 93 team. You can do other things like that. I think Dalvin Cook's the greatest running back in Florida State history. But if you said Warwick Dunn versus Devontae Freeman, I think you might have an argument there on who exactly may be better. I'd probably go with Dunn. We can do discussions like that. But see, I don't know if that keeps the things fresh or not, but it's potential. At this point, I don't know what to do. And I just feel like I'm sitting in here talking to myself at this point, but I get it. Me and Hennessy are here with y'all. At least for maybe another hour. Why not? I got nowhere to be and I got nothing to do, so I'm here for the long haul. Until I get bored and I'll cut it off and I'll go play the game or something. Right now, we're just here. I'm listening to the rain fall outside. You know, at this point, I don't even know if there's a point of doing the Friday night chop chat or we just go back to Saturday nights. Might just do another stream tomorrow night. To be honest with you, do a Saturday night live. I just wanted to get something out on a Friday because I ain't been releasing nothing. I had no idea other live streams were going on at the same time that I was trying to do my live stream. With that said, I'll probably do another one tomorrow night because again, I ain't got nothing to do. We'll probably do a Saturday night live. That don't mean this one's gonna stop anytime soon, baby. I'm still here. I ain't got a life. So I'm here with my co-host. Meet my co-host, Hen Dog. Me and Hen Dog are here. We are live, and we are talking about anything and everything from Florida State to just the world in general, to Jameis Winston's career maybe being over, Tampa Bay signing Tom Brady. The Atlanta Falcons got Todd Gurley. Like, there's been a lot of moves in the NFL now that we can really get on. NFL has been shaking and moving. So I don't know who you guys' NFL teams are out there, but a lot of big moves on that front. NBA has been given, I think, the only NBA news that's getting released is every time somebody is tested positive for corona. That's the only time I see NBA news. I think Doris Brooke tested positive today or something. It's like, big whoop. Somebody came down with the flu. Hopefully she'll be okay. That's just where it's at. That's where it's at as of this point. That is where it's at, man. I think I got another hour in me though. That's probably the best I can do. Or maybe another 30 minutes. Hour seems like a little bit too long at this point because I'm not really talking to anybody. I'm just speaking my mind to myself. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna speak my mind to myself. And basically, hold on, matter of fact, I need some background music. I think that's a good idea. We'll get some ambiance going. I gotta find what I'm looking for first. Not that. Matter of fact. There it is. So yep, here we are. We got the ambiance going. And basically, man, what I want to talk about just to myself, and if the people come in and they join the conversation, by all means, do so. I'm not even gonna pay attention. I'm just gonna talk at this point. And I just want to talk about. So I recently listened to. So I don't know if you guys know who the On the Bench podcast is. On the Bench is if you know who Josh Newberg is. Anyway, they're the 247 guys that basically cover Florida State. They get paid to cover Florida State. They cover Florida State. So I'm listening to On the Bench podcast. They just recently did a 3-episode podcast on the Willie Taggart era and what went wrong with it. What they saw as insiders, the disorganization, the chaos, the mismanagement, and everything that essentially went on with that program is what they covered on this On the Bench podcast. So I decided to give it to a listen. Now, I'll be the first one to sit here and say a couple disclaimers. One, I'm over the Willie Taggart debacle. I really am. However, I do find it very interesting that as the time has gone on, as people have came out and they've spoken, I do find it interesting to hear the background of what was happening during the tenure. Um, Another disclaimer: I was one of the few supporters of the man. Did not want to see him get fired. Wanted to see him succeed. At, at first glance, thought he was given a raw deal. Thought FSU did. They panicked and fired a man that didn't really deserve it. That was my first reaction to Willie Taggart being fired. Drink. So what happened was I listened to this On the Bench podcast, and a lot of things that eventually we came to the conclusion after the firing. When you hear the Keith Gavins of the world talk, and you hear the recruits talk about how they weren't even considering Florida State, and once Norvell came, they got highly interested in Florida State. I think it goes to show you what happens. It has to be a learning experience from Florida State. So Florida State, I think Florida State was a bit bamboozled in the hire. And what I mean by that is, and I'm talking about the hire of Taggart. Taggart had the same, what do you call it? Not manager, but the same. I'm forgetting. Basically, he had the same guy, this guy named Sexton, the guy that worked out Jimbo Fisher's contract with A&M. That guy also worked for Willie Taggart. So when Jimbo resigned and did what he did and put FSU through the ringer, I think what happened, and I don't have any inside knowledge or source of this, I think they got a call from this guy and was like, look, you offer Willie Taggart the job, he's going to come. And I think that's what they did. I don't think they didn't properly go through a coaching search, and they didn't interview a bunch of people. It's like they had a target. They went for Taggart from day one, and then that was it. And of course, Taggart took the job. And I guess we shouldn't be surprised when in hindsight, when you look at what happened, how the hiring happened, how quick it happened, the fact that they didn't really go through. They didn't go through the, proper channels of hiring a guy. I don't think FSU fans should be surprised that ended up the way it ended up. On the bench, they talked about the hirings of Willie Taggart and the hires that Taggart made and was supposed to make, and how he dropped the ball, supposedly, and how his own stubbornness is really what kept them from hiring a guy like Locksley. Taggart apparently was hell-bent on calling plays, and, it just didn't work out for him. You can't. The only way that works out is if you hire an offensive coordinator that's tied to the hip. So, for instance, Mike Norvell gets the job. The first person he brings on is Dillingham, because that guy's tied to the hip of him. And Kenny Dillingham knows what he wants to do before Norvell knows what he wants to do. So it makes sense. Norvell can still be the play caller. You can't bring in Kendall Briles or Mike Locksley and tell them, yeah, I want you to be my offensive coordinator, but you can't call plays. I'm going to call plays. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. You had to have had your own guy. Taggart didn't have that. He did have the David Kellys of the world, and we saw how that ended up. So I just bring that up because I thought the On the Bench podcast was extremely interesting, very insightful. For anybody who still cares about, the Willie Taggart era. I don't necessarily care about the Willie Taggart era, but I was interested to see or listen to the inside scoop on it and exactly maybe what had went wrong and what didn't go wrong. That's really where I was. That's where I was listening to it. I want to see maybe the thought process behind why Taggart hired or didn't hire, or like they broke down the whole Levitt fiasco and what went on there. And they all had they broke down like their personal relationships with Taggart and how Taggart was pretty hell bent on controlling the narrative. He didn't want actual facts to get out, and it kind of seemed like a mess. I'm not gonna lie to you, kind of seemed like a mess from the outside looking in. And here we are. Months later, new head coach, new direction. Unfortunately, spring ball gets canceled, so we have no idea where we go from here. In turn, like, we don't even know if there's going to be a college football season. I think the the Big 12 commissioner recently just put out, they are considering playing games in empty stadiums. I'm for that. Again, that's for my own selfish reasons. I think it would be, I don't know, smart. I think you can produce a good football show on TV. You can jazz it up with the ESPN effects and all that, and you make it feel like a big deal. Now, for the players and the coaches in the stadium, it's going to be a little awkward not having any crowd noise. But you could play some music in the background. You could maybe even pump in some artificial crowd noise if you wanted to. I don't see why that wouldn't be a problem. Like, I think there's things you can do. I would not be against having the college football season commence, even if it was in an empty stadiums. I don't want to see it get canceled, but I also understand that people's health are at risk, and if people don't feel safe, and you don't want to, and these are college kids. These kids aren't getting paid to do any of this stuff, so you don't put them at risk for profit. Either way, football's gonna, stadium empty or full, those guys are gonna make money. Especially a network like ESPN, their ratings would go through the roof with no stadiums, because you literally have, they already get millions of people on a Saturday, but expect that number to, who knows, that number would go crazy. So hopefully the football season is still in effect. We know basketball season's over. Whoops. Airborne. Microphone just went airborne. But yeah, it's the whole Corona thing is really, shaking everything up. I think they should do the empty stadium thing, though. I'm with that. I'm for that. At least at first, maybe do the first 2 to 3 games in empty stadiums. See how it works, I guess. We're talking a long way away now in August, so we hope by August they get a grip on this thing. They start getting numbers down. People can start going back to their normal lives, taking trips, going up, going to the movies, doing the basic things that we've all kind of enjoyed doing, and we all can't do right now. It's been a very weird time. Very weird time. I'm playing with this thing. But you are live Friday night, Chop Chat, like I always say. Here we are, live and in charge, baby. Me, your host, Polk County Noel. I'm joined by my co-host, Hen Dog, and we're here, sitting here, an hour into it, chopping it up. I've covered Jay Sean Corbin. Jay Sean Corbin will be eligible if there's a football season. Jay Sean Corbin, eligible week 1. That's big news for FSU's backfield. That backfield is looking even more and more legit. When you start talking about Kalen LeBourne looking like he's going to be healthy and ready. Now you got Corbin. He's probably your second string guy. Second most talented back on the roster, probably for sure. You got Webb, JUCO transfer. a lot of people seem to be high on. You got Anthony Grant, who I'm not high on, but he's a college football experienced kid. Then you got the three freshmen in Ja'Kai Douglas, Corey Wren, and Lawrence Toafili. It's a big stable of backs. A lot of speed in that backfield. Mixing some power. I don't know. There's not necessarily a power back in there, but that's fine. You got guys who can catch out the backfield. The offense is looking nice at the skill positions. I think tight end is a sleeper position that I think is going to be very good with Mr. Cam McDonald and then Wyatt Rector moving to that position. Wide receiver looks deep, looks stacked. Looks Warren Thompson in the board. Warren Thompson is emerging. That's another thing that I keep hearing. Warren Thompson looks every bit the equal. This is what we were hearing before they stopped spring. Warren Thompson was looking every bit the equal as Tamarion Terry. Maybe a smidget slower. That's what we were hearing. You got the skill positions are looking stacked. The issue is what the issue has been the last 3 years. Offensive line has been terrible. And I haven't been impressed with watching any of the drills of the offensive line. I've been impressed with the coaching, meaning the coach getting in there telling them what to do and showing them what to do. I've been impressed with Coach Atkins and the way he's been coaching. But as far as the actual drills and the players in said drills, much to be desired there. Some of them look small. Some of them look weak. That offensive line needs work. It needs a total rehaul. Granted, again, take it with a grain of salt. Darius Washington, Dante Lucas, probably your two best offensive linemen outside of the FIU transfer. Those two guys that were not participating in the spring. So you have maybe you get those guys back and you get some cohesion going on. And maybe you get some improvements. But a lot to be desired on the offensive line. Defensively, I think you're going to have one of the better defensive units in the nation if we have a season. I think your defensive line is stacked, especially your defensive tackles. Off defensive ends, if they're healthy, are good. I don't know if you have a true pass rusher. I don't know if you have a true pass rusher on this team, but maybe one can emerge. And maybe you put Amari Gaynor at that, which is possible. I think your linebackers are going to look pretty beastly. And I think your secondary is going to be so vastly improved that you'll wonder where has this team been the last 2-3 years. So that's really all you can do right at this point is just speculate on what is going on with the season. Who do we think is going to start at what positions? I'm going Jordan Travis. I think from everything we were hearing is he looked like the more consistent of the quarterbacks in the spring at this point. I think we've all kind of ran our course with James Blackman, if we're being honest. And let's get some new blood in there and let's see what he can do. I'm excited to hopefully maybe see it. I think it's a legit possibility. I don't think Purdy is going to be ready game one. So maybe you have a situation where Jordan Travis starts off the starter and you make that transition to Purdy later on in the year. It's possible. I still hold off on Purdy being the future. Bless me. But we don't know, and it's possible. So that's really all the FSU news that you can really get into and talk about. Then also, earlier on in the podcast, we talked about the boy Jameis Winston. What does he do? Where does he go? How does he fit in? Some people want to say maybe he can stay in Tampa Bay and learn behind Tom Brady. I'm not sure that's a positive thing. I think he needs a fresh start. I think he needs to go to somewhere new and get a fresh start. I think that's the smartest thing for Jameis to do. Personally, I'm not so sure he's going to get that opportunity to ever be a starter in this league. At least not this free agency period. He's gonna have to go out on the field and prove it. I'm not sure he'll get that chance to be a starter. Um, Part of me thinks that he might be done. That his career might actually be over, like legitly. Um, so that's what possibilities of a Jameis Winston going forward. Vassell, Patrick Williams, both declare for the draft, for the NBA draft. That is everything that's going on in a nutshell in the sports in the FSU world. Everything else is just icing on top of the cake, depending on what people want to talk about. But that is the gist of it. Yep. So I might give it another shot again tomorrow. I mean, we've been on here for a hot minute, and nobody's really tuned in to me, which is cool. Just a few of the more faithful listeners that I have tuned in, and I appreciate you guys as always for coming in and hanging with me for a little bit. But I can't really get the numbers rolling in at this point. Probably other live streams are going on, and people are more interested in what they got to talk about. So probably come back with it tomorrow night. Not 100% sure, but at this point, I'd say, yeah, I'm going to give it a crack tomorrow night. Stay classy, Seminoles. We still in here. We're going to keep chopping it up as always. And stay safe out there. Don't be sneezing on folks. Wash your hands. Sanitize your hands. Catch y'all guys tomorrow night on Saturday Night Live. Holla!